the CDC has reported that there are 200,000 excess deaths this year relative to any other year so far. The official count of deaths from COVID is 160, 165 at this point. 165,000. We've talked about this in the past. Epidemiologists look at year-over-year figures to see if there's excess deaths, and the CDC has determined that there is. Now, these deaths could come from one of two things, or most likely come from one of two things. They come from COVID, or they come from people holding off on medical procedures that would otherwise catch other diseases because of COVID. The other thing to consider is that because there has been social distancing and because people were traveling less over the course of particularly March, April, May, getting in fewer car crashes and whatnot, that we also have probably a reduced amount of death as a function of people reacting not to getting COVID, but afraid of getting COVID. So it's very likely that there have been more or less about 30,000 people who have died of COVID that we have not recorded as having died of COVID. And we are now looking at a situation where people are starting to head back to schools. There was out of Georgia that not only did that school that had the photos end up having a bunch of cases, apparently there's a bunch of cases throughout their entire school system, and they've only been back for, I don't know, a week or two. The Texas is going to be a massive disaster it's already pretty bad, but it's going to get worse. They have administered about almost half as many tests in the last week that ended than they did about 2.5 weeks ago. And at the same time, the percentage of tests yielding positive results has climbed by up to 20% on average in the week ending August 8th. So in other words, there are fewer people getting tested, but more of them are testing positive. And there is no explanation for that other than people have just given up on the testing because maybe they're not getting it back early enough, or they're just, or the tests are not available. But more people, the positivity rate is going up. That is an indication that maybe things are surging a bit.